You are not what happened to you. You are not the relationship that broke you. You are not the year everything fell apart. You are not the version of yourself that made the wrong choice, trusted the wrong person, or stayed too long in the wrong place. You are not your past, but somewhere along the way you forgot that, and now you carry it everywhere, into every new room, every new relationship, every new morning. You drag it behind you like a chain you did not choose, and you have carried it for so long that you no longer remember what it felt like to walk without the weight. Stop for a moment. Before I say another word, stop. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the air in your lungs. You are here, right now, in this moment, not in that year, not in that room, not in that version of yourself that still makes you wince when you think about it. You are here. And here is where this teaching begins. I want to tell you something that took me many years to understand. The past is not a place you visited once and left behind. For most people, the past is a place they still live in. They move their body forward through time, through years, through cities, through different faces and different seasons, but they left their heart behind, back in that moment, back in that wound, back in that version of the story they have told themselves so many times, it no longer feels like memory. It feels like identity. And this is where the real suffering begins. Not in what happened to you, not in the pain itself, but in the moment you decided, consciously or not, that what happened to you is who you are. The ancient teachers had a word for this. They called it the prison of the known self. You build a story about who you are based on what you have been through, and then you live inside that story as if it were the only truth, as if the walls were permanent, as if there were no door. But there is always a door. Let me ask you something. When did the past become your identity? Was it a slow accumulation year after year of small wounds that nobody saw, that you never talked about, that you buried so deep you almost forgot they were there? Until one day you realized you had been making decisions from that buried place for longer than you could remember. Or was it one moment, one event, one sentence spoken by someone who did not know or did not care how much weight their words would carry? Either way, the result is the same. You started writing your story from the wound, and a story written from a wound will always end in the same place. Not because that is your destiny, but because that is the only ending the wounded self knows how to imagine. Here is what I have observed, sitting with people in pain across more years than I can count. The ones who suffer most are almost never suffering from what happened to them. They are suffering from the story they built around what happened to them. The event ended. The story never did. I will tell you something I rarely speak of. There was a time in my life when I understood nothing of what I am about to share with you. I was not always sitting on a mountain with an open book and a settled heart. There was a version of me younger, angrier, quieter in the wrong ways, who believed with absolute certainty that his story was fixed. What had happened to him in the early years had already decided everything. The relationships he would ruin, the peace he would never find, the version of himself he was condemned to be. I carried that belief like a stone in my chest. And the heaviest part was this: I did not know I was carrying it. I thought it was simply the truth. I thought I was being realistic. I thought the people who told me otherwise were the ones who did not understand. But one morning, sitting in silence before the sun had risen, my teacher said something that I have never forgotten. He said, "The past is a memory. A memory is a thought. And a thought, no matter how heavy it feels, is not who you are." I did not understand it that day. I argued with it for months. And then one morning, very quietly, something released. Not because the past had changed. It had not. What happened had still happened. But I stopped letting what happened tell me who I was allowed to become. That is the only freedom there is. Now I want you to listen carefully. This is the part most people miss. Most people, when they hear "let go of the past," think it means to forget, to pretend it did not happen, to perform a kind of spiritual amnesia where you smile at the wound and call it healed. That is not what I am saying. What happened to you was real. The pain was real. The loss was real. The betrayal, the abandonment, the failure, all of it was real. I am not asking you to diminish any of it. I am not asking you to be grateful for the suffering before you have processed it. I am not asking you to pretend. I am asking you to make one distinction. The distinction between what happened and who you are. These are not the same thing. They have never been the same thing. What happened to you is an event. It has a beginning and an end. It exists in a moment that has already passed, that no longer exists anywhere except inside your mind. Who you are is not an event. It is not a story. It is not the accumulated weight of every wound you have ever carried. Who you are is the one who is aware of all of it. The sky, not the clouds. The clouds can be dark and heavy and cover everything you know, but the sky is always there, wider than the clouds, older than the storm, completely unchanged by everything that passes through it. You are the sky. You have always been the sky. The clouds are just very convincing. Here is what the past actually does to us and why it feels so impossible to release. When something painful happens, the mind does something very intelligent but very dangerous. It records the event in extraordinary detail. The sounds, the sensations, the temperature of the air, the exact weight of what was said. It records it all because it wants to protect you from experiencing that pain again. This is not weakness. This is the mind doing precisely what it was designed to do. But then something goes wrong. The mind begins to scan your present life for anything that resembles that old wound. A tone of voice, a certain silence, a specific kind of look, and the moment it finds a match, even a faint one, it sends an alarm through your body. Not because danger is here, but because danger was there once. And the mind cannot always tell the difference between memory and reality. So you react to the present as if it were the past. You close before someone has a chance to hurt you because someone hurt you before. You leave before you are left because you were left before. You expect the worst because the worst has happened before. And slowly, without meaning to, you build a life shaped entirely by something that is no longer happening. The ancient teachers called this living in the echo. The original sound has long since faded, but the echo keeps repeating, and you keep responding to the echo as if it were the sound itself. So what do we do? Not therapy, not affirmations, not the exhausting performance of positivity. Something much older, much simpler, much harder. We learn to witness. This is the practice. When the echo rises, when the old wound speaks, when the past begins to narrate your present, you do not fight it. You do not suppress it. You do not tell it to be quiet. You witness it. You say quietly without judgment, I see you. I know where you come from, but you are a memory. You are not this moment. You are not me. And then you feel the ground beneath you. You feel the air entering your body. You look at what is actually in front of you, not what the echo is telling you is there. This is not a technique you learn once and master forever. It is a practice, a daily return, 1,000 small choices, each one a little easier than the last. But every time you witness the echo instead of becoming it, something shifts. You are no longer inside the prison of the past. You are standing outside it, looking at it clearly, and for the first time, seeing that the walls were never as permanent as you believed. I want to leave you with this. You have been writing your story from the wound for a long time. That story is not false. It is not weak. It is not something to be ashamed of. It was the only story you knew how to write from where you were standing. But you are not standing there anymore. You are here. And from here, the story can be written differently. Not by erasing what happened, not by pretending the pain was not real, but by making the single most powerful decision available to any human being. The decision that what happened to you does not get to decide who you become. The wound was the beginning of your story. It was never meant to be the whole of it. You are not your past. You never were. The mind that learned to live in the echo can learn to live in the present. Not perfectly, not without struggle, not without the old voice rising sometimes in the quiet hours of the night. But every time you choose the present over the echo, every single time you are writing something new. Not a story of what was done to you, a story of what you chose to become. That is not a small thing, my friend. That is everything. If this teaching reached something real inside you, something you have been carrying longer than you wanted, to go to the comments right now and write one word. Free. By writing that word, you are not claiming you have already arrived. You are declaring the direction you are choosing. Share this with someone whose past you know is still writing their present. The act of offering someone a door is itself a form of walking through one. I am Master Liang. Stay present, my friend. You did not come this far to remain where you began.